and this is where I share my knitting, sewing and crafty life in general. I hope you've had a nice few weeks since we spoke last. Just slotting this in, I needed to do a few thank yous. Firstly, thank you everyone who commented on my last video where Harry was my co-host and you left such nice messages for him. So he was really chuffed with that, so thank you very much. And also thank you to Helen from Mousy Makes, who I met in Wonderwall, and we had a lovely chat, and she mentioned me on her video because she's done some videos of their travels in their camper van, and part of the one in Wales was to come to Wonderwall, and so she mentioned my podcast in her video, and I've got some new subscribers from there. So hello, if you come over from Helen's podcast, you're very welcome. And if you haven't heard of Helen, which I'm sure you have because she does some amazing videos, I will link her podcast in the description box below. We're now at the end of May and I've had a lovely May. It's been gorgeous weather here in Wales, and we've had quite a few birthdays. I started off the month with a visit to my lovely dad and stepmum. I stayed there for the weekend and that was nice. We took Louis the Pooey, their dog, for a nice walk around Lydney Harbour and just spent the weekend chatting, and it was just lovely to see them. And then Harry, my eldest grandson, and my dad share the same birthday in May, and then the following week is my mum's birthday, and the very beginning of June is my son Josh's birthday. So quite a few birthdays crammed in as well. And this last weekend, the bank holiday weekend, Martin and I went to the Mellow Festival in Upton-upon-Severn, and we went last year and camped. But this year, it was a bit of luxury. We stayed in the Swan Hotel, which was on the river, and the bedroom we stayed in overlooked the river, and it was beautiful. So we went there on the Friday. We went straight from work, drove up there and had a meal in the Swan, and then we walked over the bridge into the festival and we watched Reef, I don't know if you know them, and just stayed for a couple of hours, just the end, got the tail end of the Friday. And then on the Saturday after breakfast we wandered around the town. Now Upton-upon-Severn is a beautiful, beautiful town, lovely buildings and things, and independent shops and charity shops and lots of cafes and restaurants and pubs and things, and the people are so friendly. So we wandered around there. I bought a couple of things, from some charity shops which aren't craft related, but I also went into a shop that is, I think you call them like a cooperative. So there's a shop manager, but there's all different makers have shelves or certain areas. So I bought some crafty things there and something for my daughter for her birthday as well, which is all handmade. And they've also got a fabric and wool shop with a very nice lady in there, and I bought some things there too. So I shall show you those at the end and list all the details, and if I can link their shops or anything, I'll do that as well. We also went for a very pretty river walk before heading back into the festival for the Saturday evening. On to the making. So the title of this video is 3 dresses and a sock, but it's a bit of a cheat because these are the 3 dresses, but you have probably seen 2 of them before. So I think you've already seen this one and this one, but the middle one is new. So we will start off with the oldest, which is the one with the caravan print. Now this is a free pattern from Pattern Runway, and it's the Gathered Sundress. So obviously it's PDF, you print it off and stick it together, and that is the image there. So it's a princess seam bodice, a waistband, inset pockets, I like those kind of pockets there, and then just a pleated skirt and a back zip. And originally I did, and the fabric is old from Stash, and it's just, I think it's quilting cotton, when I used to just buy all the prints and didn't really know about different fabrics for different jobs or for different patterns. The first size I did was I took my body measurements and I decided to do the 38 bust and graduate out to the 44 hip, because, or the size 44, not a 44 hip, just because due to my measurements, that's what I thought I should do. And when I made that, oh, it's a lined bodice as well. And when I made that, it just was very loose. It's meant to be a fitted bodice and then a flary skirt, and it didn't fit very well. It wasn't very nice. So I decided to take it all apart and do it as a full 38, size 38 all the way through, because the bust area fitted. And so that's what I've done, and I really like this pattern, but it isn't fitting very well. It's very tight. Now, I tried it on a few weeks ago when I altered it, and I couldn't get the zip right up, but I've decided it's probably easier for me to lose a bit of weight than it is to actually get a pattern to fit me. So I've bought a gadget to go on my push bike, so my outdoor bike, that you can put the back wheel on and then you can pedal away to your heart's content in your house and not go anywhere. So I've been doing that for a few weeks. So when I tried this dress on today, because I have gone outside and twirled around in them to try and show you, I could actually get the zip up, although it was still very tight. But I will make this dress again because it is very nice. And the lining, I was a bit lazy, so when I took it all apart, I really should have cut the linings out again, because I did have enough fabric, but I just didn't. So I've sort of, it's like a patchwork quilt inside, so I won't show you the insides because I'm ashamed of it. And I think also the lining, I might have twisted a bit when I was trying to sew it in. I've never done a lining like that before. So it's all learning, isn't it? I'm learning. I think it'll be wearable. Possibly if I make knit a little crop cardigan or something, a little red one to go over the top. Any bits that look a bit twisted you won't see, but I'm definitely going to wear it, because in effect I've made it twice, haven't I? Because I made it too big, took it apart, made it again. So that's my first make. Now the second one is this one. Now this is the Tilly and the Buttons Skye pattern, and you could probably, you can't really see on there, oh, you can see up the line drawing that they've got some little tucks. I don't know if you can see some little tucks just under the bust. You can't really tell in that fabric, and even close up I find it hard to tell the front from the back. So I need to start sewing labels in, I think. Now with this pattern, let me just find it in my book. I made the size 4. And it goes up from a size 1, which is a UK 6, all the way up to a size 15, which is a UK 34. So I made the size 4, which is a UK 12. If I was going by the measurements on the back of the packet, I should have used the size 5, but I went down a size. I'm finding that that system seems to work, to go down one size. And the fabric is from 10 of Us Cancer Care, a charity shop in Cowbridge, and it cost me £3.49, and it was either 2 or 2.5 meters, but I had plenty enough to do the dress, and I made a lining for it instead of a facing, and I used the Burrito Method to line it, and I hadn't done that before, so I watched a few videos online, and I will try and link the one that I found most useful, which was a really good method, except the straps are quite thin, and getting the whole of the bodice through one of the straps was a bit of a chore. At one point I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it, it got stuck, but it did work in the end, and I really like that method. So there's no closures, you just slip it over your head, and I've put pockets in the sides as well, which I didn't show you in the video. Nice deep pockets, and it's nice and floaty, and for £3.49, a bargain, I think. And then last but not least is the McCools Grace dress, and it's the M7948, and it's this one, and I made for you which is the sleeveless bodice there and 2 tiers. And I really like this dress. Let me get my page. I'm still using my book. I'm putting the fabrics in and some notes and things, so that's helping. So I made the size 14. Again, that was one size down from the size that I needed. So it's the one size down from my bust and 2 from my waist to be the size 14. And I would say I could go down a size again because it's quite loose. I'm thinking of perhaps making some ties and pulling it in a bit at the back. But for holidays, I think it'll be nice because it'll be nice and floaty. So this pattern comes in sizes from 6 to 22. And I did the size 14, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 sizes. And I really like this pattern. I did a facing, and I bound the sleeve heads, well, not sleeves, the armholes. I bias bound the armholes, and there's a facing for the neck, and then you just do the tiers. There is another version on the pattern that's got a pleated skirt, and there are pockets for that, but they didn't say to put pockets in this one, I think because of the tiers, so it hasn't got pockets. And the fabric I used was, I had 3 meters of Minerva Core Range 1/4 inch check gingham in red, and the colour ran really badly in the wash. I washed it quite a while ago because I had this fabric quite a while ago with 2 jersey fabrics, and they've gone slightly pink. So yes, be careful of that. I should have put a colour catcher in the wash, but I've learnt my lesson. I will do that in future because I always wash my fabric before I use it because that's what's recommended. And yes, I basically did everything they said. It's a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, but I did 3/8 at the shoulder because I wanted the neck to be slightly lower, and also the armhole to be slightly lower, because in the images of this pattern that I've seen other people make, they look a bit, the armholes look a bit high and the neck looks a bit high. So I just thought using a slightly smaller seam allowance at the shoulder would help with that. And it was very simple to put together. I will make another one, and you do a little loop closure at the back. There's a little key, let me get it, I'll show you. So there's a keyhole opening at the back, and you do a little loop for the button and sew a button on. Let's see if I can undo it for you. So you do this little loop there, and I have found a wonderful new YouTuber, well, new to me, and she's called So Happy, or her YouTube channel is So Happy. I'm not sure what her name is. And she does lots and lots of tutorials, and she made this dress, and she made this version, and she showed you on there how to do the loop. Now, I didn't find her channel until after I'd made the dress, but I did copy her version to do the loop. But I will link her as well. And she's also done the trousers. There was a pattern I bought, I think I've shown you, where it's unusual. It's an unusual design, so it can be a skirt or trousers depending how you tie them. And she's done a tutorial for that, and I hope to make those soon, so I will definitely follow along with her for that one. So I'll let you know how I get on. So I was really pleased with this dress, and I think it'll get lots of wear. It's nice and floaty. When I took the video outside this morning, it's quite breezy today, so you can see it flowing and in action. And the last thing I'm working on is a pair of socks, but I am very nearly at the end of the first sock, so I've nearly got one sock. So calling it 3 dresses and a sock is a bit of a cheat because I haven't quite finished it yet. And I am making the retro socks. Here it is. and they are by Vicky Moroz Designs, and she's a Ukrainian knitwear designer. Because the reason I'm making them is to join in with the make along, and I've got the details on the other page, which is being run by Karen from Stitches and Jacks, Jeanette from Crafty Clegg Creations, and Alex from My Yarny Corner, and it's to raise some money to help the Ukrainian people with this ongoing war. They made some, you probably watched them already, but if not, they had made some project kits, so project bags, yarn, and yarn to do this make along or sock along. But they only made, I think they made 10 or 12, because obviously they're, you know, it takes a lot of work to do those, and so you could buy those, and I knew I wouldn't be able to go online at the time that they were setting, because I think we were away, we were doing something, but it didn't matter, you could join in just by either buying a pattern from a Ukrainian designer, which I did, or just knitting socks in the Ukrainian flag colours. You know, you didn't have to outlay any money, it could be things you had in your stash, but just for anyone to join in. But so I bought this pattern, and because I liked the honeycomb design, but I have to say, if you were new to sock knitting, it wouldn't be a good idea to use this pattern, because I think the English translation is a bit ropey and some of the instructions are a little bit vague. I did have to use a different sock pattern that I've already got to look at some of the assembly. I wasn't quite sure. I wanted to follow the whole of the pattern, the retro socks pattern. I didn't want to do a different sock pattern that I already had and just use the honeycomb section. I wanted to use all of it to learn a different way of making socks, but I did need to refer to a different pattern because I didn't feel there was enough detail in the instructions for this one. I made the size 5, which is 64 stitches, and you use 2.5 millimeter DPNs, and you need to have a cable needle to do the sort of crossover sections. Now, I didn't have a cable needle that thin, so I was using one of my DPNs because I knit using 4 DPNs, so my stitches are on 3 needles and the extra needle to obviously knit. And I had 5 in my pack, so I was using one of those to do as a cable needle, so it was quite slow going. But Sue, one of my friends on Instagram, she was also knitting these socks and having a bit of difficulty with them as well, but she recommended a video on how to make 1x1 cables without a cable needle, so I watched that. So thank you, Sue, for that, and that has sped things up a bit for me. So if you want to join in with the make along, it is till the 31st of May, so unless you're very quick. Well, actually, you don't have to finish a sock, so you could still join in, and I will put the hashtag underneath and also in the show notes, and all you have to do is, so you knit socks using the Ukrainian flag colours, and preferably a Ukrainian designer's pattern, because that's the whole point, to try and raise some money. And I didn't say, but those kits that they made, the ladies made, all the money, all the proceeds from that is going to go to help the Ukrainian people. And so on the 31st of May, regardless of whether you've finished your socks or not, wherever you've got to, you just need to post a photo of your sock on Instagram with that hashtag, and you can be in with a chance of winning some prizes. So that's always fun, isn't it? So in saying all of that, I haven't shown you my actual sock, have I? So this is where I've got to so far. I've nearly finished the toe. Now, I was working on it last night, and I was quite tired because we'd just come back from the festival, and I decided a glass of wine and a little bowl of Maltesers was more important than finishing my sock. And I've also learned that alcohol and crafting do not go together, so I stopped knitting and had that instead. So I decided to make mine a shorty pair, and so I have only done a little bit of the pattern there. Let me have a look in my project book. I'm keeping them in this lovely bag that I had from Anne, Spa Knits, or No Excuses podcast. She gave me, not this year, but the year before at Wonderwall, because I thought they were quite similar to Ukrainian colours, so that was nice. And then I'm starting to use my cards again to keep notes of how I'm getting along, especially for socks, because you've got to make another matching one, haven't you? So I did 10 rows of 2x2 rib, and the pattern is a 12 round repeat. So I did 1.5 pattern repeats before I went on to the heel. And the heel is how she explains it in the pattern, and it's quite interesting because you have this sort of detail down here. At least I hope you're supposed to, or it might have been how I read the pattern. And also coming into the toe, you get this sort of a rib, or a ridge, not a rib, effect on either side, which is something a little bit different as well. And this is lovely yarn. This is actually the very first indie dyed yarn that I ever bought. And I bought it to make a shawl, a Hohi Locatelli shawl, to join in with the grocery girls and make along they were doing. And I can tell you the pattern I was going to use, because I'm going to use it to make the shawl again with the yarn I got from Tith and Bryn when I was at Wonderwall. So it's the Pure Joy shawl by Hohi Locatelli, and there's short rows and things in it. And not only was it the first indie dyed yarn, it was the first time I came across short rows, and I made it went all a bit off. I made this huge long shawl, and so it went wrong, and I took a photo of it on my mannequin. I wrapped it around, and I look back at that photo and think, why did I undo it? I undid it because I thought, well, that's not right. Where actually it didn't matter. It was still a nice shawl. But now I have got more experience, I'd like to try and do the pattern again, because lots of people have made it and loved it. So anyway, I've gone off on a tangent now, really, haven't I? So this was the yarn. The lady no longer dyes, so yes, I can't really give you the name of her shop or anything, but yes, that's how far I got. So hopefully come the 31st of May I will have finished this, and I can at least put one sock on my foot for the photos, just to join in with everyone. I'm back because I realised I forgot to show you what I bought when we were in Upton-upon-Severn. So first was this beautiful quilted bag, and it also comes with a little padded purse. Let me just open that up for you. There we are, it's got padding inside, and I think this was £14, so I couldn't leave that in the shop, could I? Because the amount of fabric used would be that alone, I'm sure, and it's really pretty and very useful. Holding my other purchase in there from the knitting and sewing shop. And what was nice is when I went into the knitting shop and I showed the lady this bag, she said that the lady who made them actually bought the fabric from her shop. So I was supporting 2 local businesses there. And inside I put the purchases from the shop. I think I put her card in here as well. Let's see, it's all lined with pockets. Such good value. Oh, I'm not sure, maybe I'll put it in here. Oh, I'll find it. I'll let you know. Oh, there it is. So the actual shop is Stitchery, and her name was Shirley. She was very nice. And there it is, Upton-upon-Severn. And I bought 2 meters of this lovely jersey fabric. And I might make another Minetta dress with this. Absolutely gorgeous. It's flowers everywhere, designed for you by Poppy. So it's lovely and soft. So I was really pleased with that. So I bought 2 meters of that. I thought that'd be a nice summery dress. And I bought a couple of bias bindings because they are nice and soft. And some of them I find are a bit stiff, but these were nice and soft. And it's so nice to be able to actually handle things, you know, and feel them rather than buying everything online. And then I also bought a 4mm crochet hook because I was looking for one of those in Wonderwall and I couldn't find one. So there we are, very happy with my purchases. My bag, and I was putting my money in there when we were away. And my beautiful bag, very nice. So that's it. So I'm sorry it's a bit rushed. It's actually the bank holiday Monday today. We are looking after our grandsons tomorrow, so we're going up to pick them up in the morning and just take them out for the day around where they live and then drop them back home to their mum. So it's usually the last Tuesday of the month I record, but I've had to sort of sandwich you in now so that I get a video up, because I like to do it. I like to have a video on the last Tuesday. If I say I'm going to do something, I like to do it. So by the time I've edited and everything, I shall probably upload it tomorrow anyway, so you will see me on the Tuesday. I hope you've all had a lovely bank holiday weekend. Please feel free to leave any comments. If you're joining in with a sock along, please let me know, or whatever you've got up to in the month of May, let me know. I always like to find new things to do and places to see, and I like to listen to or hear about what other people are doing with their time and what other people are making and things as well. And if you're new and you feel comfortable, leave me a comment, let me know who you are and what part of the world you're from, and I always reply to everyone, so I always like a little bit of that interaction, and it makes me feel like I'm not talking to myself, although I am at this present moment. So anyway, have a lovely June, and I shall be back at the end of June to show you what I've been making. Bye for now.